One of the big questions is,
what is money?
Practical purposes, it exists in a series of heterogeneous databases, very different databases.
do you believe in crypto?
Digital currency may be an answer. It is the highly speculative asset.
I do own Bitcoin.
There is no second best.
Welcome to the Crypto Curious podcast. Every Wednesday, we dive into the dynamic world of cryptocurrency. If you're new to the show, we recommend starting with our early episodes where we break down the basics and give you a solid foundation to understand the crypto world. And for the crypto curious, the seasoned addict, or the industry insider, we're here to help you unpack the latest digital news. This week on the show, crypto exchange Kraken plans a $500 million raise at a whopping $15 billion valuation. The SEC unveils Project Crypto, bringing the US markets on chain. This is followed by a load of really interesting, short, sharp news bites this week, so make sure you stay tuned to the end. My name's Tracy, and this week it's myself and Blake who'll be bringing you all the news. Blake, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Trace. Great to be back. Another exciting week. Unfortunately, Craig has left the podcast now. We miss him already. I didn't think that was possible, but here we are.
Oh, look, we're just the two of us this week, but we've got someone special on next week, but you have to tune in to find out who that is. But as always, loads this week. We actually have two main stories, and like I said, loads of short, sharp news bites, so stay around after the break. But let's jump in, Blake, to our first story. This one is a big move from one of the world's top crypto exchanges, Kraken, who are reportedly looking to raise $500 million in funding at a massive $15 billion valuation, and they plan to go public in early 2026, Blake.
That's right. So this is really exciting. Obviously, Coinbase listed on the NASDAQ, or the US stock exchange, last market cycle. Now, we've recently seen Circle, the issuer of the stablecoin USDC, get a public listing, and now Kraken wants to do the same thing. And they're obviously timing this perfectly well with the market cycle, wanting to launch at the end of the year or early next year. And Kraken, they had two new CEOs appointed from a venture capital firm called Tribe Capital, Arjun Sarith. So Tribe Capital is a famous VC fund in Silicon Valley, and some of their early backers have now taken over to help drive this IPO and this capital raise, and it sounds like they're doing a pretty good job. This would push Kraken's valuation from $11 billion that they got in 2022 to $15 billion now, which is a solid climb, even regardless of the last bear market. Do you have any other points here, Trace, that are interesting?
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot to be said here. And Kraken, as maybe a few years ago we reported it, they were in a little bit of hot water with regulatory issues from the SEC, but we know that all petered out earlier this year and they've been going strength to strength. But what I wanted to ask you, Blake, was do you think that Kraken going public gives the industry the same kind of credibility boost that it did when Coinbase IPO'd? Because I know everyone was really excited when that happened.
Yeah, I think so. I think it is another vote of confidence. We've seen all these crypto firms move into the public markets, which creates a lot of transparency. And now that there's a better regulatory environment, they feel more comfortable moving into that space, and they know that they're going to be supported as an industry. So really exciting stuff, and really paves the way for many more potentially smaller crypto firms to follow suit.
Well, if this lands, it won't just give Kraken the runway to IPO, but it might just set the tone for the next wave of crypto hitting the public market, like Blake just said. So this is really interesting, and we'll be watching this one very closely. Okay, Blake, let's move on to our next story. This was all eyes looking forward to this one last week. It's a major regulatory shift over in the US. The SEC chair, Paul Atkins, unveiled the Project Crypto last week. This was an initiative aimed at bringing the US capital markets onto blockchain rails. It's a bold attempt to modernize the rules and position America as more of a global hub for digital finance. Everyone was really excited to hear more about what this meant. Blake, what did you make of this?
Yeah, this is incredibly exciting and really something I wasn't expecting, but really makes sense that the US is on this trajectory with such a strong crypto agenda right now. So previously the SEC, or the financial regulator in the US, was pretty adverse to crypto, but now they're looking to embrace it. And they've recently stated that most crypto assets aren't securities or aren't highly regulated products. And this is really incredible to see. So what they're trying to do is create a regulatory environment to allow stocks and derivatives and other financial products to move from traditional software management to blockchain, which is massive because there's trillions of dollars here that we believe are going to slowly migrate across to the crypto ecosystem or using crypto infrastructure. And I think is going to increase the size of this industry by over 100 times.
Yeah, 100%. I know a lot of people are looking closely at the regulatory changes around clearer instructions for ICOs, airdrops, staking rewards, and things like that, because I guess that's a field a lot of people are playing in at the moment.
So the Australian Stock Exchange tried to move across to a blockchain-based clearing system a few years ago using a contractor called Digital Asset, but they went over budget and they decided to can the project a couple of years in. I think what's different about this project is it's not just a technical solution. They're offering a regulatory framework and guidance and a surety to the industry about best practices or how some of these things should be done, because there's many ways to skin a cat. And of course, the SEC wants to make it easy to regulate, but also not stop innovation happening.
So this is really just the springboard, isn't it? Because there was the initiative that was started. There was the 160-page working group report that came out. There's the Genius Act. So this is really just moving on from here and solidifying the work that they're doing, correct?
Yeah. And we've heard the CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, come out and say that all assets will eventually be tokenized, or words to that effect. And I think we're starting to see the seeds of those comments sprout here.
Okay, sure. So all in all, this project crypto might prove really the defining moment in the US for crypto regulation. If they can execute this effectively, it could really bring the financial markets onto the blockchain.
That's right. And I think this is really bullish for Ethereum, particularly because 90% of real world assets at the moment are within the Ethereum ecosystem. And if we start to see like this environment of real world assets, financial assets move on to blockchains, then I think Ethereum's the front runner, which is such a strong narrative.
Awesome. Well, we'd all love to see Ethereum do well. But I think it really comes down to whether the SEC is able to turn what they're doing now into practice. So whether they can turn this policy into practice and legislation and get this across the line. So we'll all be watching that one very intently to see if that can happen. All right, well, let's leave that story there. And we will go to a break in a moment. But before we do, folks, just a quick heads up, Blake and I will be running a live webinar very soon, in a couple of weeks, in fact, to answer all your crypto questions. So whether you're wondering a little bit more about market trends or anything we're speaking about today, maybe it's the Bitcoin price action, or you just want to pick our brains and want to hear a few more things, we can let you know all about this at this live webinar. You can even jump in live and ask your questions directly to us. So stay tuned. We'll be announcing a little bit more about that and the date very soon. But in the meantime, if you want to head over to our socials and pop a question in there that you'd like to hear from us, you can do that by jumping into the Crypto Curious Facebook group or our Instagram page to ask your questions. We'll be back after the break with our short, sharp news bites. Here's Steve Smith buying a coffee. He's actually also investing in crypto at the same time, using Bamboo. You take care of drinking coffee with your mates, we'll take care of investing the small change. Start investing your change today with Bamboo. Welcome back. You're listening to the Crypto Curious podcast. Time now for our short, sharp news bites brought to you by the Bamboo app. Okay, Blake, you want to go first?
Yeah, so Coinbase misses its revenue expectations for Q2. So Coinbase slightly missed its revenue targets and its transaction volume was down 39% for the quarter. And it just really goes to show how volatile this crypto ecosystem is. As a result of that, their share price dropped about 7% in after hours trading. Now, savvy investors were buying this up, but the Coinbase stock is still up 50% this year. So I don't think major cause for worry here, but certainly worth noting.
Yep. Not a big miss at all. But look, staying with Coinbase, the Coinbase have plans to tokenize stocks and prediction markets in the US. They will be transforming into an everything exchange, offering this tokenized stocks and on-chain prediction markets and early stage token sales. And it's all set to roll out in the coming months. So this is just another exciting development from Coinbase and will put them in direct competition with the likes of Robinhood, Kraken and Gemini. So, yeah, that's another interesting one from Coinbase, Blake.
All right, next up, Visa expands its stablecoin settlement across 4 blockchains. It's now using the PayPal stablecoin, the global dollar that's issued with Paxos, the European Euro stablecoin from Circle, and it's on 4 blockchains. So Ethereum, Solana, Stellar, and Avalanche. So different options. Choose your flavor here. Whatever you want to do, it's going to get to the destination.
So, yeah, big move from Visa. Can you imagine us saying this 3 years ago? That would have been huge. And now it's just mixed in with all the news. Okay, next up. This is the big one. Some top Web3 gaming drops are happening in August. And Craig did just mention this in his alpha that he gave away last week as he took off into the horizon. But there are some big name drops with titles such as Off the Grid, Dead Drop, and Alluvium Arena all finally going live. And I just said this to Blake this morning, but Craig and myself actually played the beta version of the Alluvium Arena game at one of the Oz CryptoCon events a couple of years back. And that's how long it takes to get these games out, folks. And off the back of this news, the Alluvium token has pumped, I think it's up 38% in the last 24 hours. So there you go, some Web3 gaming drops in August.
Next up with Cardano, their community approves a $71 million network upgrade after it's been voted on from their community. Now, why this matters? It's just really important that this blockchain stays relevant and up to date with what's happening, what the other blockchains are doing, and it continues to fuel the ecosystem. So they're going to be implementing something called Hydra, which will allow for faster, low-cost transactions, and they will be restructuring some of how the technology works. So exciting stuff to see this project continue to evolve. What's up next, Triss?
All of the Cardano lovers. Okay, next up. The Satoshi statue has been stolen and recovered in Switzerland. This is the iconic disappearing statue of Satoshi, which you may have seen in the news when it was put out. It's the one, if you view it from different ways, sideways and front ways, it disappears. It's actually really cool. So someone stole this and then it was found only a few days later thrown into Lake Lugano. So it was an act of vandalism. We're not too happy about this one, but again, it has been recovered. But this has become a very famous statue of Satoshi in the short time that it's been out there. A lot of people taking photos with it, and it's becoming quite iconic. But we are happy that it has been found, even though it's at the bottom of the lake, but they will be recovering that one and putting it back to where it should be.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen, for today. Thanks for tuning in. We have a special guest next week.
Exciting. Yes, so please do join us, find out who that exciting guest is. Until then, stay curious, stay connected. You can do that by joining our Facebook group, The Crypto Curious, or our Instagram page. We also have a newsletter that will keep you up to date. Please hit the subscribe button wherever you're listening to us right now. And if you're looking to dollar cost average into the crypto market, please look at the Bamboo app. There's a code CURIOUS, which will give you $10 of free Bitcoin to get you started. There's a link in the show notes below. Thanks for joining. See you next week. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.